Hi everyone, welcome back to another NFL team preview. We're going to be in the NFC North talking a bit about the Chicago Bears. The Bears' big news in the offseason was firing Lovie Smith after a 10-6 season. They saw him just miss out on the playoffs in the last week of the year. And then they hired Mark Trestman, a controversial hire as he's coming from the Canadian Football League. He's moving from 3 downs back to 4 and from a wider, longer field back to the smaller American field. With the Alouettes of Montreal, he was 59-31. He won 2 Grey Cups, lost another, and really was extraordinarily successful in Montreal. We look into the offense that's led by Jay Cutler. He really hasn't taken that next step as a quarterback. He's really sort of hit a plateau since his 3rd season in Denver till now. It's going to be interesting to see how can Mark Trestman improve him. He's been known as a bit of an offensive guru. He always has the top prospects in the draft come out and work out with him. So I'm wondering, can he take Jay Cutler to the next level, or is this it for Jay Cutler? He's in the last year of his contract. Wonder what the future holds for him. Then you got a running back. You got a very consistent Matt Forte. When healthy, he's going to be a guy who can go for 1,000 rushing, 500 receiving. Very good back. A guy you always want on your team, who's going to just put his nose in there and run the football hard. Then you have one of the best short yard backs in football, Michael Bush. He can start anytime you need him to. He could be a starting running back on a team, but he's a backup on the Bears. He's great in short yards. He's got excellent hands. He was a luxury for the Raiders, and now he's a luxury for the Bears. We move to tight end, where a position that they've really had nobody at since they traded Greg Olsen. They signed Martellus Bennett from the Giants, and that's a humongous upgrade. He's not a guy who does anything extremely well, but he's very good at everything he does. We move to wide receiver, where normally you consider Brandon Marshall a great guy to have on your team, a great productive wide receiver, but he's had 3 hip operations. He's missed some training camp. He's really having you're having some weird news coming out of Bears camp about him. So they hope that they're getting the Brandon Marshall for 16 games that they got last year that set career and franchise records. We move now to the second wide receiver, where it's a battle between former SEC receivers. You got Alshon Jeffrey, the second-year target out of South Carolina, and Vanderbilt's Earl Bennett. It's going to be an interesting battle. One guy I like on their roster that I hope makes the team is Marquez Wilson. He got kicked out of Washington State, but he's very talented. I think if he's given the opportunity, he could produce something as an undrafted free agent. We move to offensive line, where they signed Jeremy Bushrod and cut Jamarcus Webb on the last day of camp. Webb was supposed to start at right tackle, but they cut him. They drafted Kyle Long in the 1st round. He looks like an absolute stud on the offensive line. They're starting him at guard, but the plan is to eventually move him out to tackle. Roberto Garza is the center. He's 34, though, so you have to wonder how much does he have left. He's been great for them for so many years. And then they signed Matt Slauson to start at left guard from the Jets. It's an upgrade over what they had, of Chris Williams and all that. We move to the defense. Where they're an aging defense, the door is certainly closing on this defense. They have a lot of guys in their 30s. We're going to start on the defensive line, though. Henry Melton is the franchise player. He's a great 3 technique, can get to the passer. Needs to stay healthy, though. Former 2nd-round pick Stephen Paya has yet to meet expectations as the team's nose tackle. We move to defensive end, where they got the big, high-priced free agent Julius Peppers a few years ago, and he's almost a guarantee for 11 sacks a year. He's great against the run and the pass still. Hasn't lost much of a step. But then you got some interesting options. Corey Wooten has developed into a good pass rushing option, but you're getting very little out of Shea McClellan. Been a disappointing player out of Boise State. Middle linebacker now. They were released, and then Brian Urlacher, and then he retired, so you're replacing the heart of the defense. Yes, he had a horrible season last year. He was one of the worst graded linebackers, but you're replacing with DJ Williams, who is very good when he's focused on the field, but he's had some trouble over the past few years. I think he can bounce back. I think that putting him next to a guy like Lance Briggs is going to be a good combo for him, get him back focused on football. Then you move to James Anderson, who they signed from the Panthers. He's got a nose for the football. He's a hard-nosed guy. I think he's still got lots of left. He was released more for cap reasons in Carolina. The fact that they have 3 highly paid linebackers already didn't need James Anderson. Move to corner, where Charles Tillman is one of the best at forcing turnovers. Yes, he's getting up there in age, but he can still strip the football. He still has good hands to pick off some passes. Guy can create turnovers, and that's what defenses need. We go to Tim Jennings, who had 9 interceptions last year. I doubt that total will be matched this year. I don't even know if he gets to 5 this year, but still a player with some good ball skills. Then we move to safety, where Major Wright is continuing to improve since his rookie year, since he was drafted out of the 3rd round of Florida. Then Chris Conte, he's going to be he's one of the defense's worst starters, so that's going to be the guy that other teams key on and pick on in their game plans. We're to special teams, and then you have the team's most accurate kicker in franchise history, Robbie Gould. He's the 5th most accurate in all time in the NFL history, so you have to feel confident in him back there. But Adam Polish is not a great punter. There's not a lot of elite punters in the league. There's not much punting depth around the league, so that's not much of a detriment to them. And then you have Devin Hester, who is going to be focusing solely on returning this year and should have a big year now that he's 100% returning balls, not focusing on the receiving game. I like the Bears to improve. I like them to have the same record as last year, 10-6, and I think they're going to be fighting again for that final wild card spot in the last week of the year, and that's my preview for the Chicago Bears.